starter in their huge matchup Sunday against the Chiefs. Sean Payton said earlier this week they weren't going to rush him back, but reports say they believe he is fully healthy. Brees missed the last 4 games with broken ribs and a punctured lung. But in his absence, the Saints were 3-1 with Taysom Hill as their starter. So, Acho, is it smart for the Saints to play Drew Brees?
It's genius for the Saints to play Drew Brees because they don't have another choice, big dog. In the NFL, and you and I know this, and the fans, y'all watching, y'all will understand this, the only time you're fully healthy, first day of training camp. Like, let's be real, man. Like, the only time an NFL athlete is actually 100% healthy is the first day of training camp. So realistically, everybody's battling something right now. I'm not gonna compare something to fractured ribs, a bruised or punctured lung, whatever the case may be. I'm hard pressed to compare something to that. But I will say this: Drew Brees is going to be hurt, just like everybody on that roster is dealing with an issue. The other issue at hand, big dog, is that you got to play another game in 5 days. So if you don't play Drew Brees against the Chiefs, you're not going to play him 5 days later against the Vikings. And you're not going to get that much more healthy in about 120-odd hours. That's just not going to happen. So what do? You count the cost, and you say, you know what? Okay, Brees, you hurt, but everybody really kind of hurt right now. Let me count the cost, let me weigh the pros and the cons. Realistically speaking, you're not going to get significantly more hurt. Realistically speaking, we can't win this game with Taysom Hill. The only way we can win this game against the Chiefs is with Drew Brees. I've told you this yesterday. For y'all that missed it, I'll say it again. Patrick Mahomes and them Chiefs, he's 31-1. If you don't put up more than 28 points, that's what it comes down to. Taysom Hill, he averages 24 points with these Saints. Drew Brees, he averages 30 points with these Saints. So Sean Payton, he looked at his playbook, Marcellus, he went through all his game notes, and he said very simply, if I play Taysom Hill, we might as well not even play the game because we don't even have a shot to win the game if we go out there with Taysom Hill. With Drew Brees, at least we have a puncher's chance to win the game. I'm going to go out there with Drew Brees. Wise decision.
To me, it's not a smart decision for some of the same reasons you said. If you only have a 5-day stretch between 2 games, why would you risk it and put him out there when you know he's already compromised? Think about that. That means your body is going to have to go out there and endure 60 minutes, not get the normal recovery, and you're already compromised in this situation, and go run it back right then. That's too much for Drew Brees. You made a good point about how we used to always walk to the first training camp practice in unison, like, hey, dog, this is it. This is as good as it's going to feel all this year. But there is a difference. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured.
Now, that's real.
Hey,
that's real.
Hey, the first practice hurts. All the practices hurt. Hitting somebody 6'6", 330 hurts all the time. But are you injured? Drew Brees is actually injured. 11 fractured ribs and a punctured lung, and you're saying, okay, you're fine now, you can play. Wait a minute. I'm fine to walk around. I'm fine to go out there and have a clean pocket. But am I fine if I get 4 sacks, if I get 9 hits, 12 hurries? Like, whatever can come in terms of the rigors of a game. Is Drew Brees ready for that? And even if he is ready for that, he passes this game with flying colors, win or loss. What about Drew Brees in the next game when you have to face the Vikings in 5 days? Acho, too much, too fast for this team to go out there and think the sky's going to fall, the bottom's going to fall out if we go with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is averaging 3.3 offensive touchdowns a game. The same as Drew Brees. Maybe not the same in points because other people chip in. But the point is, at the quarterback position, you were getting high-level production from Taysom Hill. Obviously, the hiccup against the Philadelphia Eagles scares you, but I would buy myself some time with my injured quarterback.
The issue at hand, Marcellus, is I think you're looking at this like one might play checkers as opposed to playing chess. Marcellus, when you're playing chess, and your boy played a little chess back in the day.
Did you? Were you good?
I did. I was nice. I was nice.
You were the King's Gambit? You ain't even seen the Queen's Gambit, huh? You ain't no chess player over here lying.
Back when I used to play chess, you got to calculate the moves ahead. You have to figure out, okay, if I'm gonna get them in a checkmate, what do I do now? How do I ordain these moves here and now to make sure I can calculate the moves in advance? That's what Sean Payton is doing. Sean Payton is saying this, okay, I got to figure out how to get this first round bye, Sal. I have to. Only one team gets a bye this year.
Good luck.
What can I do now? Week 14, 15, week 16, 17. What can I do to ensure that in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, I'm taken care of? Sean Payton remembers the Minnesota Miracle. Sean Payton remembers the missed PI call. Sean Payton remembers an overtime loss.
Right.
All of which occurred in the playoffs. So he's like, how can I give my team the best chance going forward? Realistically speaking, this game isn't just one game. This game means everything, and who gives you that chance? Let's look at the difference between Taysom Hill and Drew Brees. Pull up that full screen if we can. Who that? 14 starts on the left for Drew Brees, 4 starts on the right for Taysom Hill. Marcellus, how do they have the same amount of giveaways? Drew Brees, 14 starts, 5 giveaways. Taysom Hill, 4 starts, 5 giveaways. Marcellus, how have they been sacked the same amount of times? Drew Brees in 14 starts, 13 sacks the last 14. Taysom Hill, 13 sacks in his last 4 starts. Again, I'm looking at the last 14 starts for Drew Brees and the last 4 starts for Taysom Hill. The last 14 for Drew Brees, 37 passing plus rushing touchdowns. Taysom Hill, 8. I'm saying, Sal, Sean Payton knows best. Sean Payton knows this team inside and out. Sean Payton realizes if we go out there with Taysom, what's the point? Sean Payton realizes, hey, the Green Bay Packers still got to play the Titans, and they still got to play the Bears. In the event the Packers lose to these Titans, which is realistically, it's likely. It's not very likely, but it's likely. We got to make sure if they lose to these Titans, at least we got a chance to jump for that 1 seed, and we have a chance to get that bye.
So what's the point of getting the bye? What's the point of getting the 1 seed and you ain't got no tread left on your tires because you done ran Drew Brees to the ground? He's like, hey, I can't even breathe, but we the 1 seed. Like, what is the point of that? It's amazing that in this world, most of us live in our imagination. I'm going to say it again. In this world, most people live in their imagination. You know why? Because it's hard to live in the reality. What's the reality? Most of us have not traveled the entire world. We haven't touched every place. But through media and through communications, we think we know more than we do. This is a situation where I think Sean Payton is going to go into and thinking he knows more than he does. What football player do you know, especially upper echelon, elite, Drew Brees level, is going to walk up to their coach when coach says, how you feeling? I'm fine. I'm good. You know how we do it? It's pull the string. I'm good. I'm good. And then you go home to the wife. You're like, yo, I don't know about this week. I don't know about this week. She's talking about you can't even sleep and you're going to go play a football game? And I think that's a compromised position to put this team in. The reason why we live in our imagination, obviously, literally, we can't see and do everything. But more so for a football team, you live in your imagination. And it's up to the conductor, your head coach, to play around with your imagination because that's how you can gain confidence. Think about it. You go against the Chiefs, and you got your backup out there, and you do anything good. You remember when Kansas City played the Patriots without Cam Newton, and they landed on that same day? What happened when they lost that game? Everybody's like, ooh, if Cam was there. Right. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now, Sean Payton. You're supposed to have this team go out there, do whatever they can in this situation, probably lose, and then you go into the playoffs when you're the 2 seed, whatever it may be. And guess what this team is thinking? Oh, now we got Drew Brees. We are here. You got to play around with the imagination.
I like that, man. I'm not even mad at that take no more. Let me stop throwing my punches at you and let me now talk with you. The problem is, though, Sal, I'm going to tell you about my experience because it's my expertise. Going back to my senior year at the University of Texas, I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to go to a national championship, but let me tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to play every snap as hard as I can, study as hard as I can.
Oh, this is the first year you're going to do that?
As I can. It was.
Oh.
It was the first year that I said, I'm going to do everything as hard as I can. And what did I do at the end of the season? At the end of the season, I looked up. I think we only went 8-5, but you know what I said? I did everything I can.
That's real.
So I ain't got no regrets. Like, I literally, to this day, senior night, we lost. Last game of the season, not the bowl game, but I think last game, we lost. But I looked up and I said, hey, I did everything I can. Marcellus, if the Saints are looking in the 4th quarter and they end up losing by a field goal, whatever the case may be, Sean Payton doesn't want to look up and say, man, if only I would have played my future Hall of Famer. Like, Sean Payton don't want to look up and say, you know what, I really didn't do everything I could. Sean Payton doesn't want to have to live by the ifs and maybes and if we would have played Drew Brees. And you ask me, you say, well, what good does that 1 seed matter? Let's go back in time, not far in time.
Oh, you
Let's go back last year. Kansas City Chiefs their starting quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, he got hurt in the middle of the season. People said, yo, don't rush Patrick Mahomes back.
Hell
Matt
no.
Moore is okay. He won a game. He lost a game. He's doing all right. You bring Patrick Mahomes back, the Chiefs win 6 out of the final 7. What happens last game of the season, New England Patriots? All they had to do was beat the Dolphins. Beat the Dolphins, you get the bye. Tom Brady, he goes to the Super Bowl when he gets byes. But they lost to the Dolphins. They don't get the bye. Patriots end up being the 3 seed. Chiefs end up being the 2 seed. Ravens lose. Chiefs have home field throughout the playoffs. Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Now, we can sit here and pick that apart. Well, come on, Acho, if this, if that. But if you don't bring Patrick Mahomes back, maybe the Patriots lose, they still get the bye because you don't bring Patrick Mahomes back. All of a sudden, Tom Brady back in another Super Bowl instead of those Chiefs. Again, a lot of hypothetical situations I played out, but that's what Sean Payton is doing. He's calculating the cost and saying, yo, I got to play through all these scenarios. I got to play chess. I can't play checkers anymore. Playing checkers got me knocked out in the playoffs the last 3 years. I'm trying to win it all.
Yeah, but the problem is this is a team that can travel well. Think about it. We were even talking about their playoff woes the last few years. And a game of 2 of those games were on the road.